Hey guys, tonight we are joined with a wonderful variety streamer who specializes in The Legend of Zelda, getting the bejesus scared out of her by Mr. X, and a semi-professional ocarinist, if there is such a thing. Would you all please give a warm welcome to Miss 19DAISIES? Daisy, it's nice to have you. How are you?
So nice to be here. Thank you, Nate. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I have so looked forward to doing this. We have had we've had kind of a fun way of getting to know each other over the course of the
Totally.
last couple of months, and now we finally get to sit down and talk, and I'm so excited to do it. So thank you for coming on with
Totally.
us. Yes.
Absolutely.
So for those who have been here before, you may remember that our first encounter with Daisy was when we were recommended to raid you from a mutual friend, Miss Ketsy Q, who is not here to
I
give
rem-
me too much sass at this moment, but she's sure to fill it up when she can. But this was one of the rare times when I was glad to take Ketsy's input, and we came over and got to see you. And I got to say that was just a wonderful experience. But you had been going at this for a little while at that point. Can you kind of? I'm interested to get to the start. What gave you the motivation to boot up a stream, and how did it all start for you?
Sure. Yeah. So I remember that raid very well, by the way. That was so much fun. I remember the Golden Girls spamming, thank you for being a friend. And I was like, who is this? I have to know who this person is. So yeah, excellent
They have that
first
effect.
impression of you as well.
They have that effect.
But yeah, so okay. I got into streaming, I guess, not even a year ago. So last year, I came across on YouTube, DB Geek was recommended to
Yes.
me
Yes.
just in the algorithm. Like nobody told me about him, but
Hmm.
one of his videos came up of PlayStation guy plays Breath of the Wild for the first time, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds interesting." So I clicked on that, and I really just became a fan of his of the YouTube videos because I his uh his excitement and his introduction to the Zelda franchise was so endearing, and he
Yeah.
just really got into it, and it was so cool to see it through someone's, first experience.
Yeah.
And so I just really got it. I just really liked his videos, and then at the end of one of them, he said, join me on Twitch live. And at that point, I think I knew what Twitch was, but I had never been on there. And so I was like, okay, why not? I'll check it out. So went created an account and just went in as a viewer. But then after watching a couple of his streams and then poking around in a few other people's streams, getting to know Twitch, I was like, this looks like a lot of fun. And around that same time, Chuck and I were playing Little Nightmares, just on our own.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and
That is a
as
creepy
we're
ass game. Sorry,
I love that game. It
oof,
was
weirds me
it
out.
was so oh yeah, so wonderfully creepy. And we were playing it, and it's a one-player game, so he would take a turn, I would take a turn. But when I was playing it, he was laughing at my reactions because I was getting scared and like, freaking out and cussing at the character, don't go in that room. And so he was like, you could do this. You could probably do this whole streaming thing. And I was like, could I? Do you think so? And I don't know. He's like, yeah, let's do it. So then Chuck got all excited.
Mhm.
He had a camera. Chuck being in IT, he had like
Oh, jeez.
plenty of the
It's over.
equipment to
You gave him
start.
a chance to use toys. That yeah, this is over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're just literally on the couch with our little ottoman, and we have a little like tray on the ottoman. So we just set up um he had a spare monitor, set
Mhm.
that up, set up a camera. I think he had a mic, like he had all these things just hanging around. And he was like, let's do it. And so I just
Wow.
fired it up, and I don't know,
And here
it
we
was
are.
fun. And here we are.
Holy cow.
It just
So
grew from there.
that's got to be like the like if I'm in a Twitch boardroom, they've got to be like, this is what we want to do. Have people view what we're doing and then decide to do it themselves. Like that to me seems like the tailor-made way that someone might be interested in doing. That's so cool. That like it was just an
It
organic
really
sort of
it
thing.
was, and it
Yeah.
really just felt like something like, "Oh my god, I could do this." Because like, I've loved video games my whole life, and I've always felt a little bit of, an outsider with that. Because none of my friends in real life are into video games like I am. Maybe very casually, but
Hmm.
nowhere near the level that I am. It's definitely not a hobby for them. And so I was like, "Wow, these are my people." Like, "Oh my god, other gamers? Oh, like, this would be so cool." So I just
Wow.
felt immediately that I would have, like, I don't know, a good connection, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, absolutely. And you're yeah, you're drawn to somebody who's doing this for the first time. You see kind of that intrigue of the whole platform and then just decide to do it yourself. That's really cool. And certainly with Chuck holding you back at every turn, you know, encouraging you not to. Anyway, so that's great. So you said gaming is like, that's a big thing for you. Were there like, what was the game that brought you in? When did this all, I'm not saying anything wrong here because you call yourself the old lady gamer, but
Yes, I do.
that means that I'm the old man gamer, and that can't be true. So what was the one that like hooked you at first? What was the one that brought you in?
Well, before I tell you that, I'll tell you the story behind the old lady gamer. Like that was
Oh,
very
okay.
strategic. Obviously, when I was making my profile, I kind of was like, I wanted to. Obviously, I want something to kind of hook people, right? And so, what's unique about
Yeah.
me? I'm like, well, I am kind of a little bit older than most people streaming on here, I think.
I think
So
23 years old is older than most people streaming on here.
and so I just thought, I could call myself the old lady gamer. And
Hmm.
so, my first few streams, we put that in the title, and sure enough, it got some people to come in there.
Wow.
One of actually my very I'll give a quick little story about one of my first raids. Was from the Von Burek clan. I don't know if you've met the Von Bureks yet, but they are such a cool group of people, and the leader of
Oh,
the crew is Simon Von Burek. But the reason he raided me was because my title. I was
wow.
Chuck and I were actually playing couch co-op on that stream. We were doing Age of Calamity, and I think the title was something like "Old Lady Gamer plays a couch co-op with hubs" or something like that.
Hmm.
And that was the whole reason he clicked on it, and then it turned into like a huge friendship, and they're like the coolest people.
Wow.
But yeah, that little hook definitely worked. So I definitely wear the old lady badge, with
So
pride.
when did that morph into 19 Daisies that we see now? Or was that, are you
um
saying that that was never your name? It was just like the hook of like the title, or was it the
the old lady being the hook. Yeah.
okay. Okay, I
Old lady
got you.
gamer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So because one of their first questions when they came in, they're like, "So how old are you?" And so
Oh.
I had to like
and you
I
were
had to
like,
tell them.
wait a minute, this might not have been the best idea because that's the first question that gets back. Okay,
I did
gotcha.
hesitate a little
Yeah,
bit, but then they were the same age, and so then I was like, "Okay,
yeah.
awesome." Like I feel bad.
We,
But
yeah, feel like we're the generation that started. You and I are the generation that started gaming as a like a bigger than just a hobby, bigger than just a casual thing. Because really, when like
totally.
Nintendo came out, that revolutionized home consoles, and then we were just like, oh my god, Mario and Zelda and everything else.
Oh my god.
So they just like I remember I was 4 years old, 5 years old when Mario 1 came into my house, and I couldn't stop. And
Oh yeah.
my dad was like, dude, you got to go to bed. And my brother was like, what are you obsessing for? Because he was just pissed he couldn't play. Anyway, like just hooked me. What was the title that hooked you? What was the one that brought you in?
So yeah, same with me. My before we had the Nintendo, my dad had an Atari. He had a Commodore 64, and so we were playing like
Good.
old games. Oh my god, I remember playing Adventure, which was like
Yeah.
almost like the original Zelda. It's like you're a little square
Yeah.
and you go around and there's a dragon, and like your sword is an arrow. Like it's
Oh
so
geez.
it's so
So good.
amazing.
So good.
I remember loving that game and loving like bump and jump, a racing game and stuff.
Yes.
And right?
Bump and jump.
And so
Yes.
I played those games very, very young. I want to say I was 4 or 5 myself when I was playing those. And then when the NES came out, we got one along with the Gyrobot. Do you remember that thing?
No, hang on a second.
Oh man.
Hang on. No, my
You
book's buried. I'd have to see if I
you
remember the
gotta
Gyrobot.
know Gyrobot, man.
Mm-mm.
So it was the weirdest gimmick. So Nintendo, right? They're originally like a toy company, right? So they
Yeah.
not only were they making video games, but they made this little robot that literally pushed the buttons for you. So it had these little spinners that it would move over, grab the spinner, pick it up,
Oh my
move
gosh.
over, and push it down on the A button or push it down on the B button. It was like the
Oh my
slowest
gosh.
mechanism to push the buttons. It was such a gimmick, but it was so amazing. And so we had the Nintendo with that Gyrobot, and it was an
Wow.
optional thing. You had controllers as well, and you could actually like play it like a normal video game. Um,
Not if I had a robot to play the game for me. No, that'd be
I
the
know,
coolest
I
thing
know.
ever. No.
When you're 5 or 6, you're like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And so we Yeah, I definitely, I played a ton of NES games. Like Gyromite, I think was the game that
Yeah.
was released with the Gyrobot. And so I
Oh, I
remember
didn't
playing
even
that
know
really
that.
young. I think that's yeah,
I remember
my memories
Gyromite, the
mm,
game. No, that makes total
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
and I think that's why they that came out. But I definitely, of course, got into Mario. Definitely got into the very first Zelda. Um, but it wasn't until the Super Nintendo Zelda, Link to the Past, came out that I fell hard for the
Oh.
Zelda series. Here's Riley, by the way, if you can see his
I was
tail.
it just sort of emerged and I was like, is this some sort of oh my gosh.
He
All
has
right.
arrived.
He has arrived. There he is.
Look
Everybody,
look
this
how
is
sad he
Riley.
is.
Oh my
Look how
gosh. He
sad.
looks like he got shamed for stealing a toothbrush at the corner
It
store right now.
He
What
thinks he's
happened?
being shamed for being held. He's so
No.
weird. But
Riley. Do you want me to I need to get the other friend that we had. We did a little pre-show and they got to know each other. Neither of them were interested in the other. They were
I know.
both like, that's enough. Give me the kibble.